The Last Word, Episode 2. The Evidence Trail. Intro. In Episode 1, I told you how my journey began, with my parents' care needs, the misrepresentations made by Cornwall Council, and the moment I realized that what had happened to my family wasn't just wrong, it was unlawful. But understanding something is wrong is only the beginning. Proving it, that's where the real battle starts. This episode is about the evidence. The documents. The contradictions. The omissions. The things that were said, and the things that were never meant to be found. This is the part of the story where the truth starts to surface, not because the system revealed it, but because I refused to stop digging. Section 1. The Paper Trail. When you're dealing with a public authority, everything is supposed to be documented. Assessments. Financial calculations. Care plans. Internal notes. But when I began requesting records, something became clear very quickly. The paperwork didn't match the reality. Some documents were missing. Some were incomplete. Some contradicted each other. And some contained statements that were simply untrue. I found assessments that ignored medical evidence. Financial calculations that misapplied the law. Letters that claimed powers the council didn't have. And internal notes that revealed decisions had been predetermined long before any assessment took place. This wasn't an accident. It was a pattern. Section 2, the law they didn't expect me to read. At first, I didn't know what I was looking at. But the more I read, the clearer it became. Under the law at the time, the National Assistance Act, the NHS and Community Care Act, CRAG, the council had no power to charge for nursing care. None. Zero. Nursing care was the responsibility of the NHS. It could not be means tested. It could not be disguised as social care. It could not be shifted onto families. Yet that is exactly what Cornwall Council did. And then there was the property caution, the threat hanging over my home. A caution can only be used when someone has a legitimate legal interest in the property. A disputed care fee invoice is not a legal interest. It's a civil claim. And using a caution to secure a civil debt is unlawful. But they did it anyway. The more I learned, the more shocking it became. Not only had the council acted outside the law, they had acted as though the law didn't apply to them at all. Section 3. The human cost. People talk about care funding as if it's just numbers on a page. But behind every number is a family. Behind every assessment is a person who's ill, vulnerable, or dying. Behind every unlawful charge is someone grieving, exhausted, and trying to hold their life together. For me, this wasn't an academic exercise. It was my parents. My home. My partner. My life. I watched the stress tear through our household. I watched fear settle into the corners of every conversation. I watched the system, the one that's supposed to protect people, become the source of harm. And I realized something that changed everything. If this could happen to us, it could happen to anyone. Section 4, or the disclosure battle. When I submitted subject access requests and freedom of information requests, I expected transparency. What I got was obstruction. Delays. Excuses. Partial disclosures. Documents with missing pages. Records that could not be located. Files that contradicted each other. But every gap told a story. Every missing document raised a question. Every contradiction revealed a truth they didn't want exposed. I built timelines. Cross-referenced assessments. Matched statements against legislation. Compared internal notes with official letters. Piece by piece, the picture became undeniable. Cornwall Council had misrepresented the law. They had misapplied their powers. They had manipulated assessments. They had used unlawful threats. And they had financially exploited vulnerable families. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was systemic. Section 5, the moment of realization. There's a moment in every fight where the truth hits you so hard it changes everything. For me, it was the day I realized that the council's actions weren't just wrong, they were criminal. Fraud by false representation. Section 2 of the Fraud Act 2006. A criminal offense. And yet, when I reported it, the system shrugged. That's when I understood the scale of what I was up against. Not just a council. Not just a flawed assessment. But an entire structure designed to protect itself, not the public. Closing. In the next episode, I'll take you through what happened when I tried to get justice. The Action Fraud Report. The police response. The LGSCO's refusal to investigate. And the moment I realized that the institutions meant to protect us were part of the problem. This is where the fight becomes bigger than one family. This is where the system shows its true face. And this is where the story turns from personal to political.